Hi everyone, my name is Chris Palmer and this is my PowerPoint presentation for Kinesiology 473. Today in my PowerPoint I'm going to be going over the effects of an elevation training mask on VO2 max. So some background to start with. High intensity interval training, or HIIT, has been used more and more as an alternative to traditional endurance training to alter cardiorespiratory fitness. HIIT is short periods of high intensity bursts of energy with even shorter periods of rest. High intensity interval training, or HIIT, is also known as Tabata. Usually these workouts consist of 30 to 45 seconds of high intensity work with 10 to 15 seconds of rest. So my idea is that athletes and fitness enthusiasts are always trying to push themselves to be better. It is a constant battle to prepare yourself to be better than the competition and give yourself every fair advantage. We're not trying to make any unfair advantages. We're trying to do everything, to just better yourself to make a better athlete. Research is needed in this area of elevation training masks, ETM, use because it could lead to major gains in physical fitness advancement. So you can see right there's a picture of someone wearing the exact training mask that I used for this study. So my question that I'm asking is, does 30 minutes of high intensity interval training with the elevation training mask ETM improve VO2 max at a greater rate than 30 minutes of high intensity interval training without an elevation training mask? And I believe there will be a change. Wearing an elevation training mask, you're working your lungs, you're in a hypoxic environment, and restricts the flow of air in and out of the mask. I've used one personally, and I personally feel that I felt a change when it comes to working out without one. I feel like I not necessarily have more air, but I don't feel as winded going upstairs or doing an interval training. I don't feel like I'm trying to catch my breath constantly after the workout. So my methods. For my participants, I had 20 subjects who volunteered. I had 10 males and 10 females. From the ages of 21 to 27. These participants were randomly assigned into the test group and the control group. The test group, of course, used an ETM and worked out for 30 minutes, and the control group did the same workouts but did not wear an ETM. I found participants at the gym because they already have physical fitness backgrounds and they're acclimated to that active lifestyle. These participants also have the motivation to improve themselves and to follow a strict workout regimen, so I didn't feel like I'd have a problem with these participants. For my procedure, prior to testing, these participants were instructed to hydrate and to be well rested. On the first day of testing, each of these subjects were weighed, measured, and a baseline set of vitals were obtained. When I say vitals, I mean blood pressure, their heart rate, and then their pulse oximetry. I bought a pulse oximeter from CVS, and so I measured the amount of oxygen percentage in their blood. Subjects performed a 5-minute warm-up, a light jog around our track on a dirt track before they began the HIIT testing. They were fitted with the ETM. I had 2 ETMs that I purchased from Amazon. One was size medium, one was size large. Each one was fitted with an ETM appropriately, and then they performed the 30 minutes of the HIIT training. This training included 45 seconds of high intensity followed by 15 seconds of rest. That's what I mentioned before. It's what they typically consist of. And then there were 6 stations against interval training. So you do 45 seconds of intense work, and then 15 seconds of rest. So there were 6 stations that I created at our gym. So the 6 stations were as follows. Station 1 was a farmer's carry of 45-pound weight. So they had 2 400-pound dumbbells that they carried a feet of 25 feet down and then 20 feet back. That was the first station. The second station was a tire flip. I didn't get the measurement of the tire or the weight. I didn't really have a means to weigh that. But it was a farmer's tire. It was a tire flip. They would flip it for 10 feet, and then they flip it back 10 feet. sorry, 5 flips and then come back 5 flips. The next station was the battle ropes. There was a big 2-inch rope, braided rope, that was around a pole, and then they would do battle ropes. So they would swing the ropes up and above their head, again for 4 to 5 seconds, followed by 15 seconds of rest. Next was a VO2 ball. It was meant for balance, and then they would do squats with a 4 to 5 pound bar. Station 5 is over the head sledgehammer strikes on that pre-mentioned tire, as many as they can get in that 45 seconds. And then the last station was crunches, and this was laying on the ground on a yoga mat and doing as crunches as fast as you can for the 45 seconds. After station 6 and after the 15 seconds of rest, they started back at station 1, which was, like I mentioned before, the farmer's carry. Each station was performed 5 times, totaling in 30 minutes of working out. Participants in the control group performed the same, like I said, the same 5-minute warm-up and the same HIIT workout, but without the ETM. As a safety precaution for the participants, there was an EMT on standby. I am an EMT. I have my EMT license. I am CPR and first aid trained, so I was on standby with first aid equipment and then an AED, an automated external defibrillator. That was just for the participant safety. They were medically screened before they started, but I was on standby. After the testing was concluded, every day after the workout, also every day after every day after the workout, and then the post-test vitals, I obtained their vitals to see if I had any change in their resting heart rate, their blood pressure, their pulse oximetry. They were also recorded for my data, for my raw data, but then also for the patient safety. The instruments that I used, like I said, I used the ETM, the elevation training mask, large and medium. I used a finger pulse oximetry, a blood pressure cuff, and a stethoscope, along with the other workout materials that I had previously mentioned. So discussion. So here's my data. So you can see at the top you have the HIIT group. This was my test group. This is the group that used an elevation training mask. On the bottom, the control group, this is the group that did not use an elevation training mask. Again, they performed the same workouts, but without the elevation training mask. And there, of course, with any workout routine, there was some change with the control group. That's inevitable. But there was less of a change in the control group than there was in the test group. And here is the result of the research study found that the 20 participants in the test group had a standard deviation of 6.6 and showed an improved VO2 max after the conclusion of the study. Like I mentioned, while the control group did have increase in their VO2 max pre to post test, it was at a much slower rate. In the conclusion, the research study showed the elevation training mask ETM during high intensity interval training increased participants' VO2 max at a much faster rate. The purpose of this study, like I mentioned, is to determine the impact of the training while wearing the elevation mask over the 6 weeks of high intensity interval training. My results demonstrated that performing HIIT while wearing the ETM 3 times a week was superior to performing HIIT without an ETM 3 times a week. This seems to be congruent with the bulk of the literature on HIIT, ETM, and VO2 max that I had been using for the majority of this study. The limitations of this research study was keeping participants motivated to continue high interval training. It's kind of, again, like I said, I think I found the best participants to keep motivated, someone who's already physically active at the gym, but still it's wearing an ETM, personally, it is hard to breathe with one. It does restrict the amount of oxygen being brought into your face, and it can be a lot for some people to do over the period of 6 weeks, 3 times a week. Also, another limitation was just getting the participant to show up. Some people might, luckily everyone was able to show up, but future studies, just day-to-day life, if they have an accident or a family emergency or work or school. But luckily, I was able to find people who were able to meet with mainly at night, but I had people I was able to meet with at the end of the workday. Also, another limitation is just assuring participants don't get sick. We're at the gym, we're around a lot of germs, people coughing, sneezing, sweating, people at home with kids, a lot of germs, and so those are some of the limitations to my study. That concludes my PowerPoint presentation. Thank you very much for watching.